I want to say a really big welcome to our listeners today. We get the privilege and the honour to talk to beautiful Sarah. Ooh, thank you, Sarah, for being here today.
Oh, thank you, Claire, for asking and inviting me.
Oh, I got full body tingles knowing that I get to talk to a fellow medium, psychic, and coach. It's just, this is where the good conversations start, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yes, I love it.
I know that mediumship is a general topic that spiritual people use and understand, but from your point of view, can you help people understand what is mediumship, psychic gifts? Let's
Yeah,
start right at that fun stuff.
look, for me, the mediumship is it's just like a telephone line, basically. It's using me as a connection to your loved ones that's passed over, and know that they are still there just because they've left the physical ground, or you can look at it as a bridge. But yeah, I like to think it's a telephone line, and they just use me as their voice.
Oh, as the voice. I actually
Yeah,
haven't heard anyone articulate it like that. That's really
yeah.
special.
And I always say when I do connect, or before I have a sitter, I might be jumping ahead here, but I will always say, call in my team, loved ones, and my last thing is, I am your voice for this reading, and that's my motto. I am the voice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's powerful because I well and truly had not articulated it that well. I'd always considered the medium between you and the loved ones in spirit. So it's like it is very specific. That's the word, like I'm the medium.
yeah.
Then if we move towards psychic, how would you describe psychic for a person to understand?
Look, for a psychic, I feel like your psychic, it's an intuition. They look at you, they see you more probably as a person, which is fine. And there's different aspects, obviously. I feel like I'm more mediumship led because I have that um compassion, just that empathy, and just to be truthful. Do you know, that's where I feel, where your psychic thing is just reading you as a person. Not that that's not truthful, but I feel my path is more the mediumship.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would agree, somebody who's a natural born medium, they have come in with a soul contract that really does honor that truth, that harmony, the
Yeah,
message, the
correct.
collaboration.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
for anyone who's listening, a psychic is reading the energy that you are currently projecting. So when I'm doing coaching with people, if they have a fear of travel, fear of flying, or something like that, then the reading and the energy ahead of them is quite fearful. And of course, you're not going to get on that plane. But with coaching and things, we can resolve that fear, which now shifts the time streams, which now opens up to new possibilities. Like, okay, you're not fearful now. So, like, yeah, I do see travel in the future. So you're
yeah.
right, Sarah, that it's not true, but there's so much willpower, or free will, I should say, to be able to shift what's ahead of you. And
Yeah, I
that's what I
agree.
love about that spiritual realm is like, yeah.
Yeah. And that's it too, and people come for different readings, which is perfectly fine. And they come for what they want, whether it's an empowerment reading or whether they want to speak to mum, dad, a child, So, and I feel that I am the voice for whichever path reading that they want.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then that's where you're attracting in those clients that really treasure everything that you bring to that reading, your values, because your clients are going to be very different profile of someone compared to who I would work with. So the spirit world's working even outside of the session, lining everybody up, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Yes. It's happening. Yeah, 100% it's happening. So, yeah.
Now you've worked your 9 to 5 job, and somewhere on your path you pivoted and said, okay, I actually want to embrace this mediumship gift of mine. I'm curious if you want to share a little bit more about what was that turning point that you said, like, I'm embracing this?
Yeah, look, for me, oh, it's a hard one too. I've always been connected to spirit. I've always had that something. I've never really acknowledged it. As things move through the course of my life and my journey. I think for me, the biggest thing was when my dad died, that I had this whole, I don't know, it was obviously something, and I just knew that whilst dad left us or me, I knew there was a better reason and what I needed to do, and that's where I went then. And thought, and an opportunity presented itself to me to develop. I never
Oh, wow.
thought I was ever going to do this. If you'd said this to me a few years ago, I would have said, I don't know what you're talking about. Um, but, and I feel like dad is my greatest person up there,
Yeah.
that guides me. He talks to me. He will always give me signs. And I
Mhm.
just felt that through my own grief,
Yeah.
I can help people.
Yeah.
And that's where I move forward. And yeah, I just love it that I can be able to be that telephone line to a person with their past loved ones.
Oh, full body tingles.
Yeah.
So, so there was this tragedy, the loss of your father,
Yeah.
and then there's this turning point where you're going to embrace that spiritual side.
Yeah.
With within that, the polarity of going from the black and white human world to the colorful spiritual world, how has mediumship shaped the way that you view life now?
Oh, look, it gives me um that, oh gosh, the a bigger purpose. It gives me like, to be able to heal, to help people, to give them closure, guidance, that whole empowering thing that they can change their journey for their realization. I have that passion. I think it gives you a different perspective on life as well, and just what things should bother you, shouldn't bother you, those little things are now no longer
Yeah,
little. It just how you deal with relationships as well, in my own relationships. um and I feel like you actually sit back and you reassess things and where you're at as well, and you just think, you know what, why am I doing this? I need to just get rid of that or change things up. And now I become more calmer, believe it or not. The kids were like, God, mum, you used to lose your shit. What's happened to you? It's just that whole realize it's a life-changing moment, Claire.
yeah,
Yeah, and for people who are in this world with us, I feel like they can relate to that as well.
yeah. So the themes there with embracing the mediumship side of things, the spiritual side,
Mm.
there's less noise, there's more clarity,
Yeah,
there's more guidance.
it's and again, it's the groundedness, it's the truthful, like this is me. This is truly me.
Yeah, and do you know that's the ultimate goal for an empath, a spiritually heart-led business person is like just the authentic you, the self-worth shining
Yeah,
through. It's just like, yeah, how can it get any better?
I know. And you know what? I admit I still have a little wobbles, but that's
Oh yeah,
naturally because that's how you grow. If you don't have your wobbles, then I would question certain things too. So I feel like anybody that says they don't have wobbles, I think is not an element of truth there, or they
yeah,
want
what?
to, yeah, they not. So for me, I feel like that's like a natural progression then.
Oh yeah, and you hit a button for me with those people who come across with the mask, everything's together, perfect. It's like there's a whole lot of ego going on in that human
Yeah.
world.
Yeah, and you know what? sometimes you just got to say, you know what, if you want to do that, that's fine, but you're not going to be in my world. So
Then, then who is in your world? Who welcomed in Sarah's world
I
within
just,
that? Yeah, you go.
yeah, I just feel like people who are genuine, and see me for who I am too. And I want to spend time with people that they want to spend time with me, not just because they have to. I don't want that anymore. I don't want to be that person that I have to spend time.
Yeah.
So, because time is precious as well. And the more you get caught up in that world, how am I going to grow in this world?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. With the type of work that I do, when I hear you saying like that the shoulds and the have tos, it implies that there's an obligation there instead of the freedom to choose. And so when you say like, I have to do this thing, it really restricts the energy
Yeah.
compared to the freedom.
Yeah, totally, Claire, totally, Claire. And I think, yeah, through all that's happened over the last few years, um, I don't want to be in that anymore. And then this
Yeah,
is what
and
I
that's
want
that
to.
spiritual awakening.
Yes, yes, I know. It's like, yes, okay.
Then about one of the most rewarding readings, or yeah, no, let's leave it like that. Tell me about one of the most rewarding readings that you've been a part of.
Oh, God, there's been so many, I feel, because I feel like spirit team, they use me to the ones that need that more, maybe caring, nurturing, maybe a bit more sensitive topic. Um, I generally find that I will have, you know, bring loved ones, children that have passed, different circumstances. I will always get dads as well, and I feel like
Yeah.
that's my dad.
Yeah.
That's a big thing for me. I will always pick on some, not pick on somebody, but I'll always pick up, as not pick on somebody, but I'll always I'll always have that dad figure that comes through as more of the connection. So for me, I have done some readings for a gentleman, and I brought his son through, and he was like, "This is my best friend," and all this. And for me, I feel like that will always stick with me. That dad son as well reading, and that was done in one of my very
Mm.
first few events that I done.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like that's it. But I can't remember all the readings. That's the
Really,
thing.
because you're
People
not in the
leave.
body.
I know. People, when you say, yep, see you, all the best, but I could not tell you what I told them.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
weirdest thing, isn't it? Like you just can't. I'm thinking, oh, I can't even remember what I said to you. When people will come back to you and you think, oh God, I can't even. I remember you, but I don't remember what I was past readings. But that's good, because then the next reading obviously is what they need and to grow and to hear, or for that time that they're in.
Yeah.
So yeah, so for me, I feel like I'm more that, um, yeah, that compassion, that love, that softness that I can bring through that energy and that voice for them.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to come back to that. But for the listeners who are listening in to better understand what Sarah was just describing, everybody is functioning from their logical mind. When you think about reading or getting through your to-do list, you're well and truly in your logical mind. But mediums naturally, and if you're trained to be a medium, you are taught to go more into the unconscious mind to become that channel for spirit, as they were saying, be that voice. So it's like a meditative visualization type experience, a hypnosis type experience where you go into the theta brainwave. And this is where spirit can meet you halfway and you start to communicate. Whereas being in the logical mind, the door kind of closes to spirit. You're aware of them, but you're focused more on your human to-do list. And so that's what Sarah's talking about, is like, I remember you logically, and then I went into reading mode. I went into that theta brain, and spirit just
Yeah, that's
flooding in,
right.
right?
Yeah, yeah, totally, totally. Yes, correct.
It's
Yeah.
a trained skill to not only just go into that brainwave, and it's a trained skill then to be grounded as well for us mediums. Oh, I
Yeah, it
like to
does.
play
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah, it is. Yes. And I, you know, people don't understand as well, I suppose, the energy that we go through or experience doing a reading. So for me, if I do like lots of readings the next day, it's like as if I've hangover from spirits up there, not drinking a spirit. It's the weirdest thing, isn't it, Claire? It really is.
Yeah, yeah, and this is leading us to our conversation about value, price
Mm.
for mediumship, and things like that. And that's where people are not just receiving that reading. There's all of the mastery, the expertise, the sacrifice of your time to master yourself into this, to be able to sit in front of somebody and have that trust that what comes through is truthful, trustworthy, all the
Yeah,
things,
yeah,
versus somebody who could just take your money and
yeah, just run. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, for me, that's exactly right. Yeah.
before I go into more of that, I want to come back to one of the most rewarding readings. You spoke about the father and son, even though I've just said like you were out of your little mind, but do you remember like that aha moment within your mediumship journey? I would call it toothpaste, but the detail that you went, I'm not making this up. Like, do you remember that moment?
I think I still have those moments, if I be truthful. um, yeah, look, I feel like there's been a few aha moments for me, and I think I will always continue to have those aha moments. I can't specifically say there's one, because I've had different opportunities, different things in how I've developed and things. Um, and half the time I can't remember. But anyway,
While you think about yours, I'll share mine.
yeah, okay.
Like, because obviously Sarah and I receive different sitters, different intents. So somebody who has more of a library of like father went to war, they will attract in clients that want that wartime aha moments. Like, as for somebody who's had a child that's lost, you will definitely attract in those people because you speak that language and you understand it. Me with my mediumship, I always attracted the naughty, mischievous clients or spirit. Like that doesn't sound like me at all, does it, Sarah?
Oh, hence why I'm laughing.
And the wow moment for me was, yeah, and it was on platform, so it was in an audience. There were a lot of people listening to this. And like, I've got your nana here. She's talking about going to the ATM, and she's saying 9841 means something to you. Can you place this? And this sitter's gone big wide eyes, and she's like, "That's my ATM number, and now I've got to have to change it." It was just like there was no way I could make that up. And
Yeah,
it was Nana's with you and she's watching. And if that doesn't give you the evidence, I don't know what
yeah.
what will. So
I do feel it's the dad connection in me though, because I do recall as well. It was a aha moment. Was a lady, um, and it was in an event environment, and I had her dad, and he was talking about his ashes, and that there was like an issue, or there was something to do with his ashes. Anyway, and I went to this lady and I said, I've got your dad. And she said, yes, I'm picking up his ashes on the Monday. And that was for me, that was like, okay, thank you. So that's got to be one of
yeah,
those moments. Yeah. And you
yeah,
thinking, oh my God, how did I even know that? Like, that's not me. Like, and for me, they just have this conversation with me, because that's the other thing. I don't see things. I just know things. I just feel things, you know?
Yeah.
So for me to just hear this person having this conversation, telling me about his ashes, it's
Yeah.
like, oh my God. And that was very early on in, yeah, my
In your
development.
development.
Yeah.
When I received a reading from you, and it must have been roughly around this time, you were saying, "Yeah, I got your mum here. She's saying happy birthday. Da 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 da. You know, I'm getting the number 26," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's my brother's birthday. Like next week. Thanks, Sarah." Like,
Yeah. I know, you know, and I think names too, like they will give me some names and people will be like, oh my God, you know, so you know, but anyway, there's lots of aha moments and that which is just amazing. And
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and it really does. If you're somebody who's lost somebody, they've passed over, that reassurance, you can be spiritual and all the things, but that reassurance that somebody else gets it,
Yeah.
uh, just saves you from so many years of grief therapy and stress, and it's just like,
Yeah.
okay, like they're still here. So it's on the grand scale of things, it really helps people within their healing. For me, I've witnessed that like within looking at the psychic energy, if they had continued on that grief of the not knowing and the agony of that, they were on their path to pneumonia and all sorts,
Yeah.
losing their job and all sorts of different things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that aha moment of like, okay, no, they're around, settle something within your own soul to
Oh,
say, like, yeah,
it's okay, you know, we get this understanding, you know, and I feel like our words help family as well. You know, I have many conversations with my mom about dad, you know, and she's never kind of said, you know, or can you ask your father this, or you know, but she will always, and I will always say, like, you know, I talk to dad, or dad, you know, in this, and yeah, so I feel like that is a big help to people.
yeah, huge,
Yeah.
huge, huge. So, so with this, I want to pivot more into you and your business.
Mm.
We've got a really good picture and an understanding that what the service that you provide for people is immeasurable. Leading up to this, we were discussing being a spiritual heart-led business owner, wanting the best for people, wanting to give, serve, and help. And yet, when we put the mirror back up to you, okay, well, how do we help you? It was like, oh, no, 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 like, yes, no,
Yeah,
maybe.
I'm here to help other people, not myself, but clearly, yes.
And so for those who are listening, especially if you are a medium or in those types of industries, like listen in, because I'm gonna ask Sarah some pretty heavy duty questions to be able to release some of those limiting beliefs, to be able to get Sarah back into her empowerment. Everything that she gives for everybody else, let's give this back to Sarah.
Yeah.
Now I did we had a coffee last week and uh, I said to Spirit, like, do I give her a big sort of big deal kind of question to get you out of that empath, got to give? And the Spirit, like, yeah, give it to her. Like, all right. And I had I'd said to you, with worrying about charging people for your mediumship, careful that you're not judging others for what they can or cannot afford. Do you remember? Obviously, you remember that.
I do remember that because that was a big kind of slap up the bum.
Spiritual slap.
And in my perspective and my assumption on people that they can't afford it. Do you know what I mean? And I want people to have this healing and this help. So it's kind of like, okay, well, I'll keep it
Yeah.
less. But then it was like, okay, well, actually, you know, if it's attracting the right clientele as well, like we were talking about as well. And I've done a lot of work through the course of this week after our conversation. And I actually booked in a lady and increased the price. But it kind of did stick with me that, you know, I was the one that was saying people can't afford it. How
Yeah.
do I know they can't afford it?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a big like realization for me
It was
after
huge.
this week.
Not
Yeah.
just you, it was huge for me. I remember a whole lot of internal kind of tantrums and feeling sick about raising the price.
Yeah. And
And
it's like, will they book me? Will people come to me? Will they just think, oh no, you know, but it'll open up that next avenue as we discussed. And I just think that that's probably what I want. Do you know what I mean? Because I want people, because I was like, oh gosh, you know, I can't charge that. You know, and then it's like, well, people's reactions to when what I was charging, to me, it's like, do they think I'm too cheap?
yeah,
You know, it's finding that balance of
yeah,
too cheap, too expensive, somewhere in the middle. Um, so I
yeah.
have really like battled with that. And look, a few people have said to me, you need to put your prices up, but it always comes back to, well, what if nobody will book me in?
Bingo. And that's where, especially my style of coaching comes in. We are not talking about numbers. We are not talking about numbers. And I've had coaches for me in the past are like, just get on your laptop and you type in the number and it's done. Your price is raised. And I'm like, oh, that does not stop the
No.
agony. And I heard you articulate earlier, it's these potentially past woundings of like, will they like me? Will they accept me? Will they
Yeah,
laugh at me? Will they accept?
that's right. You know, it's, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when we're looking through that lens of fear and limitation, it's very, very difficult to look at all of the wonderful, beautiful gifts within the service you provide. It all comes back to where the nervous system and everything restricts and like, no, I'll just accommodate and give and all of the things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And because I go, you know, people will come and I will like go over the time spots, you know, but that's the other thing too. And I'm like, come on, I need to have that little bit more structure, like the little bit, you know. So it's a work in progress.
Yeah, it is. And I really want to acknowledge here with the recorded session, like we are bringing up some of your abilities. I want to be tender to that, but also help pivot that a little bit
Mm,
with acknowledging again how much value that you do provide.
yeah.
When you think about raising your price, what are the types of fears or things that come up for you? I know we've already articulated it, but what do you think is that number one fear?
I feel it's just not having any bookings because I want to continue my healing journey. I want to continue to be that voice. And if I'm too expensive or not charging right, then I won't have any bookings and then I can't do what I want. It just comes back to that, I feel. That's the
Yeah,
main thing. It's not having those bookings.
yeah. Yeah, and we can follow that and say, like, with the diary empty, no bookings,
Yeah.
then how do you have the fun and the connection and all of the
And the
things?
passion that's in me that I want to do this. So, and that's the passion where passion can't be free either, you know?
If we're looking at musicians, Mariah Carey, Elton John, Mark, all of the different, I was going to say George Michael, they're out there with their natural gift, excitement, and helping people raise their frequency and all of the things, especially like John Lennon and people in the past. And that's where when people say, "Oh, well, you're working spirit, how can you charge?" It's like, well,
I
where
know.
everybody else is, yeah,
Yeah. And that's the thing too. That's right. We'll happily pay what, 70, $80 for a personal coach, you know, just for some fitness. And yet I'm
yeah,
thinking, oh God, will they pay that for a mediumship reading? And that's actually a connection to your loved ones.
yeah, 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 and that's I think I spoke to you about that at the cafe, was the the reading that you offer them potentially saves them years and years of stress and all of the other things. It's absolutely out of proportion with the value that you give to somebody, the freedom and all of that.
Mm.
Again, we come back to that fear that we spoke about. I'm going to sidestep as I do. And I know that with manifesting clients, I mean, I had created a 9 month wait list in my business. So I had too far the other direction, Sarah. I know that the energy work works. So my side question is, if I was actually coaching and working with somebody who desperately wanted a baby, wanted to be a mum, I would have to address fear
Mm.
that that may never happen. Now it's really interesting. So instead of that cortisol and the stress and everything, with that fear just being in that hustle pushing mode, got to do all the things, when you bring her back to that calmness and the acceptance that it may happen or it may not happen, that's actually when she's in that perfect energy to receive, and that's when she's in that perfect energy for the baby to marinate and do all of the good things a baby needs
Yeah.
to do. The attracting clients piece is to face those fears instead of the push and the hustle and got to do everything right.
Yeah.
How does that resonate with you?
Yeah, that's where I need to be, you know. I just need to, yeah, accept that this is what it is and just allow it all to flow.
Yeah. And you said earlier that your personal healing growth is also something that you value. And I would say this is why Spirit's bringing it forward, is to say part of your soul contract, part of your intuition is saying, like, get up there, be on stage, help people heal. And
Yeah.
yet the ego, the fear says, yeah, but what if they don't like me?
Yeah.
And so this is
Yeah.
that awakening where Spirit's pushing your buttons to say, this human limitation, like, why are we holding on to this? How
Yeah.
does that resonate for
Yeah.
you?
Yeah. That's, yeah, it's 100% Claire. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And so that's where, especially in coaching, we would be bringing forward a lot of those fears and exploring, where did they come from? Are they true? You know, do we need to hold on to that? As a quick example to illustrate to people what I'm talking about, in childhood, it's like you're taught to hold your mum's hand when you cross the road. And that's a program. You're like, okay, potentially you could interpret that to say, I'm not safe in this world, or I don't know how to navigate this world. I need to hold my mum's hand. If you're still doing that in your 20s, this is now limiting.
Yeah. Yes, very
And
true.
so we need to, like, it worked for you in the past when it wasn't limiting, but now it is, you've outgrown that.
Mm.
And so the fears that we're talking about, do they like me, or, will I be laughed at, is all the stuff in the past
Yeah.
that we can go, okay, I learned from that, and now I'm going to do something different. As I describe this, what's coming up for you, Sarah?
Yeah. And that's the thing too, you know, I just want people to take me seriously, you know, because they haven't in the past, you know, and I'm very serious about what I do and my passion, and just to be able to be that person. Um, and yeah, you get drawn back into the old way, you know. It's like, oh God, they won't like me. What are they saying behind my backs? You know, it's like that laughing moment, you know.
Yeah.
But I feel like I want people to understand and take me seriously.
Yeah, 100%. So pause and reflect on that one.
Mm,
I've got
yeah.
two different directions to go with that.
Yeah, it's quite a realization for me actually when I just say these words.
I'll tell you the two different directions I could go with that. Wanting to be taken seriously can indicate, especially with the clients I've worked with, is to reflect on, where are you not taking yourself seriously? Where does that get a bit wobbly?
Mm,
And to undo that. And like, okay, so then if I know within myself, my self-worth, my internal validation, like this is me, then it doesn't really matter if they take you seriously.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
So you can work through that with, okay,
Mm.
but what other areas of your life you're not taking yourself seriously? But knowing that we were going to focus more on like the fear and the fear of no bookings, that's
Yeah,
potentially going to make the bigger impact today. But
yes.
again, this is where that ongoing coaching.
Yeah, yeah, correct. That's right. Yeah. It's all part of it, isn't it?
Yeah. My cheeky humor. Uh, I was sitting in mediumship circle for like 10 years, and somebody in that group, I call them like an old chook, just like to peck people down. And they had said, Claire, you don't look like you're taking this spiritual stuff very seriously. And I said, and I will never take it seriously because spirit likes to play, they like to dance, they like to uplift your energy. And the
Mm.
moment you get too serious with me,
It's all
like,
over. It's all over. And that's the thing too, because um, I feel too that people in spirit world are just as happy go lucky, playful laughter, there's joy, there's sadness. It's still there, but it's up in spirit world. And you have to bring that through too with your readings. You can't just be that negative Nancy, because they're going to go from that reading as all they got was negativity. They need upliftment, they need guidance, they need support, they need compassion, they need truthfulness. And that's all you have to do in your reading.
yeah, is to bring in to inspire that, right? To inspire
Oh,
that to come to the
yes,
surface.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. As you can tell, I get really like passionate about.
We love that. And so from my understanding of communicating with spirit, that's exactly why we come to this human realm, is to experience the polarity of sadness, grief, hate, so on and so forth, because they don't actually have that so
Yeah,
much in the spirit world. So when you do connect with spirit, they are going to bring forward the playful upliftment,
of
guidance, and
course,
clarity
that's
that you
right.
need, because they're not operating from sadness and injustice
Right.
anymore.
And people, on the human plane are just like suffering and are too busy or haven't got, they just shut themselves off. It's just it's a whole new world.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's exactly why we need more of you out there, Sarah.
And I'm sure there will be lots of other people like me as well. But I think we're all unique in our own way that we do things too. So, and I feel like people would be drawn to me for different reasons as people would be drawn to you, Claire.
Yeah,
So,
100%.
and that's what the uniqueness is of us light workers or whatever we want to call ourselves,
Yeah.
but doing great work because we need all types of people to do this as well.
Well, yeah, and the point that you make that comes to mind is that if I had a client inquiry who needed a very gentle, tender space, I have the humility to say, here's Sarah's number. Like, I work with people at a different stage of their journey
Yeah.
and so it would be with integrity to say, like, no, here's Sarah's number. So yes, we
Yeah.
definitely work with different
And
people.
I think as well that, and that's good, that's fine, like you have your connection, you have people that are in your network, because it's so important, because that actual person that's come to you for help needs the help, and no matter who you need to get them that help is where you will push or give them guidance to go to. And it doesn't bother me if somebody said, oh, I'd actually go to her, not her, because there's a reason for that. And we're all here as a collective to just heal that person in that moment.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what Spirit World's message. Like, yeah, we're all collaborating, working together.
Yeah, not against one another,
Yeah,
it's like
no.
we all need to get this job done. This is the team, this is the work.
Yeah.
And so many people, it's not like that in our world either. They just think you just got to come to me. But what actual level of service? That person is not getting what they need. And that's what upsets me, because people need this, and some people take that so much, take advantage as well of their misfortunes. And in that moment, and I just get so angry and upset about that,
Yeah.
because that
Yeah.
you were totally not there for that person, whereas for us, we're from the heart, we've got it.
Yeah.
That's the difference. That's the difference, Claire. Sorry, I'm on my bit of a rant there, but
Oh, it's powerful stuff. So then let's turn this around again to help you. And knowing that Spirit's with us, the team is with us, somehow they coordinated this, and I followed my intuition, say, come on, let's go and do a recorded session. If we were to get in touch with that fear side of things, the fear of no bookings, and you've done NLP with me, when you think about that fear, no bookings, is there a picture or something that comes to mind that you're
it's
working against, like when like no bookings?
just the sadness that I can't help people.
Okay. Yeah.
It comes to that, because I want to so much help people. It's the sadness that it would bring to me if I did not have any bookings.
Again, side quest on that one, just for the listeners, there is still a choice with all service providers to still gift sessions. If you, I don't know, if you happen to be seeing someone in hospital, someone else needed a reading, gift it away. The universe will
Oh,
bring it back.
correct. Yes.
This particular focus being the professional me or professional mind, body, soul coach, medium. So there is a difference with this one, but talking to you, Sarah, about your professionalism and charging your value, when you think about the idea of, and I don't need numbers, I don't want numbers, but when you think about, charging what lights you, do you have a picture or an idea of what that looks like for you?
Yeah, like for me, I just want to have that big, I see sunshine in the background. So for me, it's just all about having that sunshine, and to have like the knowing and the security of having that sunshine.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
Anything else? That was awesome.
no, that's it. It's just that big, huge sun I see behind me. It's the sunshine in my face.
It's an odd question then, and trust whatever comes to mind because
Yeah.
it's deliberately odd. What's the worst thing about having that sunshine?
Oh, God. Nothing. I think it'll be my happy place.
Yes. Let me ask the question again. I'll give you an example of where I'm going with this.
Okay.
If a client says to me, I want this, it's not happening. I ask them, okay, well, what do you want? They say, I want peace. Yeah, let's just say peace. I say, what's the worst thing about peace? And often they have a history where when things weren't quiet, there was a quiet before the storm. So the peace can never be trusted. And so there's always a unconscious little nugget there that says, yeah, but like there's a pain point. If we reflect back on that beautiful sunshine, the security, trusting whatever comes to mind, and you can tap into your intuition. What's the worst thing about sunshine behind your back?
Just the growth.
The worst thing is about the growth.
Yeah, just the growth.
Okay.
Yeah, and picking and, and just having the right people to help me in that growth.
Yeah. I'm going to drill in a little bit. How is that a problem for you, the growth and the actually, just going to go straight to it. What's the problem for you with the uncertainty with the people around you? What's the problem with that?
Um, just kind of having them, um, just like the support, but having the right people that are in your corner as well to help you to grow, and not the ones that want to hold you back either. So, and just, you know, and as well as for clients too, I don't want to be burnt out, or then that becomes like the tension within the family home, so it comes back to having those right clients, right family, right support in your corner to be able to help you to have that growth to get to the sun,
Yes.
if
Yes.
that makes
Okay.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I could do 10 readings for that, whereas I could do 5 for that, and I already know
Yeah.
my answer. The 5 would be more
Yeah. Yes.
beneficial.
Understand. Is it your experience, not just in recent times, but like maybe many years ago, where humans, not necessarily not spiritual people, but just focusing on humans that have pushed your button, and while you value growth, it's like they've pushed your buttons and it's just been too damn hard.
Yeah, it has. And I feel like that goes back to childhood too. Like we came from a very poor mining village background. My parents did 3 or 4 jobs. We were 5 kids. We had like hand-me-downs. We used to come home from school and make sure dad's dinner was on the table. It was that era, it was those struggles. And I just don't want to have those struggles anymore, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So for me, I want to get to that sun. So when in another, 5, 10 years time, my sun is even shining more, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I could go all sorts of like empath, out of this world reality and talk about sun, but I'm going to be disciplined and stick to this one.
Yeah, there's probably is a lot to unpack there, and I feel like I go back to the childhood and upbringing. And don't get me wrong, we had a fantastic upbringing. We had laughter. We had no
Yeah.
money, but we had joy. We had love. And that way it comes back to, you don't need all the things in the world. It just goes to show. But I feel from that is how my blueprint of the person and the love that I give and that I want to give to people comes from.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. When we look to the past, not the joy in the home, but look back to the challenge with humans. And the picture that comes to mind for me is actually quite dark, in that miners kind of village, and being in UK, not much sun, much big chunk of the time. But when we go back to that chapter, is there a person or people that just made your growth so much harder than it needed to be?
Probably they will be, I'm sure. I'm probably pivoting around the answer here, Claire. You can feel my um my little
Say
like,
yes, you don't have
oh
to describe it, but have you got a picture
yeah.
of that chapter?
Yeah, I feel yes, yeah.
If you momentarily take yourself back, even with your eyes closed, and notice that there was that interference, or the difficulty, the challenges with growth, I want you to slow down the movie of your mind and notice that little version of you. She would have said something like, I will never, ever, what? What? Finish that sentence for me. I will never, ever.
I will never ever allow my children to do what I had to do.
Okay. When you think about that decision, it's almost like a soul contract there. How is that impacting you now?
I'm actually very proud of my children
Yeah.
and how we have brought them up, how we've guided them. And they both are individual people, obviously, but they are doing great work,
Yeah.
both my son and my daughter.
Yeah. Proud mama bear.
Very proud mum. Yeah, very, very proud mum. And
Now, let me check there. At what age does your unconscious mind, what age does your children stop being children and be grown up?
I want to say when they transition to like high school.
Yep, okay.
Yeah, because when we were in high school, if my brother or any of the siblings was sick, one of us would have to take the day off to look after them because mum and dad were working. And I always said to my kids, you have to be absolutely dying to have a day off school. And it was that, so yeah.
So from what after working with numerous clients, I can shortcut this a lot and save a lot of, needing, 12 months worth of coaching. I
Yeah.
can shortcut this, but I also don't want to take away from your experience. What I'm hearing, what I'm picking up on is that on one hand, you want to have that sun, you want to step into your purpose, bring in the voice of the spirit world, all of that wonderful, yummy things. And yet on the other hand, there is a very protective version of you that wants to make sure that your little tribe is well and truly looked after
Yes.
based on challenges of the past that, the people out there can make your growth really difficult. I want to create this nest. And so we've got this, it is stress. You've got this two different pools of saying, I want this, and yet I'm holding on to that.
Mm.
What happens with that? Again, I've seen this in numerous clients, is when they make that decision, like my children will never have to do what I had to do, they actually don't put a line in the sand to say, okay, I'll raise them till they're 21 and then I can let go a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. Yes.
And it's the unconscious mind is that powerful that you will honor everything that you've said and promised to yourself. And so this priority is ruling the show more than the passion and the service to others. Does
Yeah.
this resonate with what's
Yeah.
happening?
Yeah, 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 for sure.
And so even though we've come a long way from like, well, the fear that there's no bookings, when I said to you, what's the worst thing about, what's the worst thing about the sunshine is if this column here was well and truly full with bookings, then how do you prioritize your energy and focus for this column when it is so strong? Does that make sense?
Yeah, yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So we're not looking in any way, shape, or form, we are not looking at cutting this out, but we are looking at the trust that I say mama bear, but the trust that you have installed in your kids that they've got this, they've got the discernment to recognize that they can grow and travel and do all of the things and make their way back home. There's a trust in what you've been able to deliver that the energy can actually now trust this next chapter.
Yeah, and you're right there actually, because Jack's just spent a month in Japan. Do you know what I mean? As much as I've missed him, me and Kev have thoroughly enjoyed having just the house to ourselves and just be able to do like things. You know, Caris is on her own pathway, and she is doing. So you're right, Claire. It's just me letting go, just having that mum moment and just let them go now, because they clearly are self-sufficient. They are on their own paths because this is how we've brought them out, to be responsible, to know what they want.
Yes.
So it's probably a big thing is aha for me is to just, you know what, allow them to do that, allow me to move forward and to get to my son.
And may I add, our full body tingles here, the team know what I'm about to say. And then bring in that spirit world going, guys, put the sun over my children. Like,
Yeah.
you've got a job now.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, yeah. And that's the thing, yeah. Sometimes as well, I'm my own worst enemy because I won't ask for help either. Because
That's a whole nother coaching session.
yeah, I know. And that's it. I'm like, you know what, I can do this. I don't need to. I will protect them. I will do, they're mine, you know. Um And I am slowly getting to let them go and, and stuff and whatever. Yeah, so I do think there's a few aha moments in there, Claire.
I know that we would do a whole trance process and, it could take up to an hour, but if I shortcut it because I've worked with you many, many lifetimes and know that we can snip this into 30 seconds, if you were to close your eyes and bring back close your eyes, noticing that there's that little version of you who's, experiencing the hardship of people, humans. If you bring you in as a bit of a spirit guide, like the future you comes in as you are with that mama bear protective energy, is let her know that you've come from the future. She is that special, that you are here to help her with guidance. And if you were to allow that sunshine to warm her back and to know wherever you go, I've got this, how does that little version of you respond?
Arms wide open.
Yeah. Can we check in? Is there anything there that she needs?
No, it just no. It's just, yeah, arms wide open. The warmth is there. I can feel it. It's very hot.
From that point of view, with that little version of you, I want you to invite her to look beyond the humans and start to connect to the spirit world, that they're always there. They've got her back. And from this point of view, how does that change your focus on growth?
Just do it. Just step forward. Just do it.
Yeah. Is there any message or clarity here we can provide about discernment about people or humans?
Just trust. Just trust just trust your intuition, trust your gut.
Yeah. And I would add that, yes, some challenging people may step on your path, but you have that strength, that power to be able to not let them stay on your path. You have the choice to move, to pivot, to ask them to step aside.
Yeah. And I've learned that, and I'm learning now. Yeah.
Yeah. So your path within that spiritual voice is that path that really lights up. And so anybody who does not resonate on that frequency is now requested to step off that path. When we've done learning through hardship, and we're now going to invite a spirit world to learn the growth through focusing on value.
Yeah. I love it.
So with that in mind, and just starting to wrap this up, I know that we haven't gone full blown in depth here, but when you think about the bookings and the invitation for people to come in, how do you feel about that now?
Great. Because I know that my team are already working and doing, and there'll be that deeper, sharper spiritual connection, and that's going to be my next step.
Yeah, 100%. So for me, I would be adding in the strategy, right? Okay, team, I want to work with you guys today. Can we get an angel, a guide watching my kids? Good, they're done. I'm over here.
Yeah.
And that's actually, I don't know if you'd use the word command, but that's I asked the team, I say, okay, step in. Like there's a full invitation for you to step in and assist now.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just these little tips in giving you that security that, yeah, I'm going to go play in the sunshine, and they're also playing in the
Yeah, I
sunshine.
know. And it's just like it excites me, Claire. Like I get that, oh my God, yeah. Because I just love it. This is who I am, and this is why I'm you. Obviously I've gone through all my journey on the life plane, and now it's with you, and it's just so rewarding and fulfilling. Um, it just that I can help people and that people can trust me as well. I think that's the biggest thing too. Like you need people to you need that rapport with people as you teach, you teach that anyway. But I feel like, going back to before, people will be drawn to me for a reason. And it's
Yeah,
that
once
trust.
you shine that sunlight on your booking
Yeah,
schedule, go like bring it in. Like
bring it
I'm
in. Yeah. And yeah, just that whole trusting that they can be and just have that feel of, they feel comfortable that I've got them.
Yeah, as we're
Yeah.
saying this, I live near Puffing Billy, and I'm just hearing Puffing Billy, and sometimes that means my grandfather is around. His ashes are that direction. So we are well and truly supported.
Mm.
Sarah, can you let everybody know where they can contact you for readings?
Yeah. So I have Instagram page, I have my Facebook, and yeah, I've just my social. I'm not, you'll find me on there. So, or you can
Yeah,
contact through people, friends. I've had a lot of recommendations. Yeah.
I'll
So,
put the show notes in the comments below. But yes, if you
yeah.
guys are after a trusted, beautiful, supported, safe reading, then yeah, check out Sarah Jayne from Mind Body. I have to check Mind Body Soul, not Mind Body Spirit, Mind Body Soul.
Yeah. I think my socials, though, it's Sarah Jayne Mind, Body, Soul. There's no and in there on the socials. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't
Um,
allow me to put that in the socials. So, yeah.
okay. And well,
Yeah.
Google and Spirit will bring.
Well, that's it. Yes, correct. That's exactly right. Yes. So,
Sarah, before we wrap things up, is there anything else here that I didn't ask you, or anything here that may help people understand or prepare themselves for a reading, or like, is there any other piece of information that you want your people to know?
I think if people are wanting a reading, they have to ask the specific question, what do they want? Like,
Yes.
what reading do they want? Who do they want to hear from? You know, are people coming because they want me to tell them you're going to split up with your husband? I'm not here for that. So just things like that. I just truly say to people, think about why you actually want a reading.
Oh, yes. Yes. And for those who are listening, it's not like being a couch potato and just like, okay, give it to me, or a massage, like, just give it to me. You play a massive role in the reading. Your
Yep,
intention, the beforehand, knowing the session's coming up, ask your dad, ask your people to come
yep,
forward, participate. This is it. The session's
yep.
been booked, and make it happen. So there's just as much power, ooh, full body tingles, just as much power in the sitter as there is to the voice
Correct.
who's
That's
bringing
right.
that through. So
Yeah, because if
me
they
getting all
don't have
passionate about
that,
that.
yeah, if they don't have that, then I feel like they will not get what they actually need, the help, the healing, the guidance, the answers for that moment in their life and their journey. And they just
Yeah.
maybe will assume that we tell them everything. It's not like that at all.
No, even though I was about to wrap things up, but yes, spirit will have to, by universal laws, respect your free will. If you ask a vague question, you will get a vague answer. If you want the
Right.
detail, then you need to invite that in. As I said earlier, when I want my team around, okay, guys, step in. Otherwise, they will just back off and watch. And yes, the sitter, if you're having a reading, set the intention, come in with the detail, come in with the questions. It's not testing the person to see if what they're getting is true. It's a life-changing experience to receive that. So
Yeah.
oh,
It's exciting. It's exciting times.
well, thank you for your time, Sarah. This has been a
Oh,
treasure sharing this time with you. And
yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
hopefully you're feeling into that sunshine and ready for new clients.
yeah, I am. And thank you, Claire, so much. I've thoroughly enjoyed our chat, as always, I do. And to see, I'm excited for the next step, and I will raise my prices and I will call in my team, and I will put my lovely sunshine on my children and allow myself to move forward. So thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure too, Claire. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you're welcome. And that's how quickly things can shift with that new perspective and that healing. It's just magnificent how that ripple
Yeah.
effect occurs.
Oh,
So,
just
well,
having the right words and stuff. Yeah, it's perfect. You do wonderful things, Claire. Thank you so
oh,
much.
thank you. And thank you, everybody, for listening. And I will talk to you later.